Hey there, new setup. That's kind of fun. I don't know. I want to talk about Loki today and briefly over the other Disney Plus series because I didn't have a channel back then and I would have reviewed them if I did. So, WandaVision. Pretty good. I like everything but the ending generally because I've grown up on a sitcom background with my sister essentially repeating Gilmore Girls, Friends, and Full House. It did give me an appreciation for the sitcom genre, which I think is kind of necessary for you to like fully enjoy WandaVision. And I did. It was kind of just, I liked the tropes that they used. I liked pretty much the smaller scale that it was presenting until the goddamn sky battle at the end. Like, we were this close to greatness. And yeah, the villain was, I like Agatha, obviously, but I'm not even someone that was like, please be Mephisto, I need comic accuracy or whatever. Like, I don't particularly care about that. What I do care about is, Hayward sucked. I really thought there had to be something behind that, because it was just terribly written. Like, yes, he's just evil. Like, he's just, we're going to present him as someone that's nice, and that you're going to like him for about half an episode, and then we're going to make him evil. It's like, we don't need that. We get that out there. Just focus on Agatha. It was Agatha all along. That's what we should have focused on. 8 out of 10. That's all you're getting from me. Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Not bad. Not good. It's a good 6.5 out of 10. And that's only because I really liked that last episode. Nothing about the villain was interesting. Like, at all. And that's just unfortunately reshoots. It's not the actress's fault. I really like her in Solo. But what can you do? I like every one of the actors in there. But I was not really engaged in the story that they were presenting, unfortunately. I did like when it decided to go smaller scale and back to the family and focus on like the dynamic between Sam and his sister. I liked the whole blip realization of, yeah, banking would be kind of screwed. Last episode was funny. Sam Wilson going up to the politicians and saying, do better. Politicians go, but how? And then he just goes, just do. It's like, wow, love it. Good shit. I know there was probably more nuance to it. It's been a few months since I've seen it. And yeah, I don't ever, plan on rewatching that one. So 6.5 out of 10 rubber chickens. Good on them. Let's get into Loki. That's what we're here for today. God damn it, Loki was good. It was my most least anticipated, actually, of the bunch, because they basically showed no footage for it, so I'm just like, I don't know. It might end up being really good, but I like Tom Hiddleston. I'm kind of over the Loki character, if I'm being completely honest, at that point, because I thought his saga was like pretty much complete at the little snap, shall we say. They took the show in a really interesting direction of like, yeah, grab that variant that obviously emerged from Tony's mishap and then see what you can do. See if you can evolve him past his Infinity War point, which is essentially what they ended up doing. I watched a really good video by Implicitly Pretentious today, which essentially explains that whole concept. Disney Plus era, this is definitely my favorite of the bunch. It was everything I wanted it to be that I didn't know it would be. And, way more. It was very engaging as a series. Like, the story itself, very well contained, even though, like, there's a huge multiverse scope of it. But you're really focused, like, on the characters, the dynamics with each other. You've got your Mobius and Renslayer. You've got your Mobius and Loki. You've got Sylvie and Loki. Like, these are really interesting dynamics that keep you grounded to the actual series. So even when you've got the larger scale of, like, a moon crashing into the planet, what you actually care about are the characters. And that's what I really like about when TV shows can essentially capture a grand scale, if it's required, but also, hone it down a little, make it actually mean something. Because it's obvious from the get-go that the TVA is not what it appears. The propaganda, the 50s aesthetic, like, it's very Orwellian, and I love that about the show. It does lay the groundwork for you to think, wait a second, there might be a lot more to this series, which is what they want you to think. But what I appreciate about it is there's actually multiple pathways that actually made sense for them to go down with this show. So I had two thought processes originally. Unfortunately, I didn't record them, or I would have nailed one of them. But my thoughts were either you're going to go an old Loki route to show how essentially Loki can have all this power, but it's not what he desires, or you go the Kang the Conqueror route, which makes sense because they're obviously going to use him in Ant-Man 3. I like the fact that there was the Willy Wonka-esque man behind the curtain. I absolutely love Jonathan Major's performance as well, but that's to be expected. It's actually the first time I've ever seen him in anything, and I've just heard a lot of good things about him, and boy, he did not disappoint. I can't wait to see any of his other variants. Like, this one is very clearly a bit kooky and lonely, so I can't wait to see a more serious one. Let's get into theories. That's the most important part. So I think this show actually opens up a lot of the MCU's multiverse, but oh, Spider-Man, crap. There you go. Fuck. God damn it, Spider-Man. There you go. I'm just gonna leave Spider-Man in there. I'm actually really curious how Loki season 2 is actually been set up with the whole alternate TVA that Loki ended up in. They left it a bit open-ended if Sylvie chucked him into a multiverse version of the TVA, or because the branches obviously just opened up, so he might not have been sent back to his original one, or the original one ended up changing. Now, I'm thinking it's the former, just because that would break the endgame time travel rules, and Feige's typically focused on, continuity. So that would actually make sense if it's just an alternate TVA that he flipped into. Very happy that the multiverse is now open before Spider-Man here, because that means we can get Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. Yay! I really like about how they explain the sacred timeline as essentially a meta commentary for phase 1 to 3, and now that the multiverse is opening, this is like phase 4 onwards. It's like boom, phase 4. Are you excited, guys? Yes, I am. More importantly, I suppose, is where this actually brings the MCU, because they've just opened a huge can of worms that I think most people have disregarded. The MCU is like, well, we just did Endgame. Like, wow, that's as big as it's ever gonna get. No. They've just done Endgame. Pretty big. Multiverse gives them so many more opportunities. You want to retire a current actor and bring a new one in? Easy. Just grab one from the multiverse. That's your new Black Widow. That's something they'll do in like 20 years, but that's just a nice little solution they've already come up with, given the fact that with Loki, they've already shown alternate versions of Loki. I just like, the story opportunities. Like, we can see multiple Spider-Men at once. We can see different types of universes. Like, we can go to an animated universe with live action characters. That'd be funny. Like, Space Jam it up a little. Like, there's a lot of interesting story opportunities. Like, you can do a bunch of what ifs, which is obviously what the next show What If's going to be about with your multiverse warriors. That's going to be cool. Like, there's so many very interesting pathways that the MCU can take now. If the MCU, happens to make any mistakes along the way, such as bad villains being introduced, you don't have to just, wait a decade before reintroducing the Mandarin. You can just grab one from the multiverse. Anything is possible, as long as it's justified within reasonable storytelling. I'll be pretty happy. Yeah. This show ultimately works incredibly well. I don't even have, I have one complaint. And that was the fact that we didn't get one wow from Owen Wilson. Come on. He literally says, we're going to burn it to the ground. And now. But there's no wow. Can't wait for season 2. I'm going to give this show 9 out of 10 rubber chickens. It loses a singular point for that wow removal. Ratings are arbitrary. Don't judge me. Bye.